Who's this guy? What happened to Dave?
I guess it's a rebranding, isn't it? That seems to be popular these days.
Must be.
But it's the same SOS, same old shit. Huh. Interesting. That's what a rebranding is. I guess we have to look up what Webster's dictionary would classify as a rebranding, because some folks aren't teaching or being taught very well. So that's Steve. There's Vinny. I'm Dave. This is the Insert Revolution podcast, episode 135. I did send you guys screenshot of the old radar. So that stuff is generally moving to the northeast. I don't know what the trajectory miles per hour. I guess about 30, 40 miles an hour. So if something goes wrong, there's a reason. The main players of this operation have been forewarned. So, and the skies
No,
are.
Yannick, it wasn't his hair that caught on fire either, by the way, just for clarification purposes.
No,
At least not that we know of.
This is correct. It's one of those in which where I haven't had or chose to have a full head of hair since like 8th grade, and that's a lot of years ago. That's what 27 or so. Well, maybe probably more, but anywho, it's like, yeah, I had it for 3 years, or let it grow, I should say, for 3 years, and yeah, it was more than time.
For those who have been around from the beginning, everybody should remember the old Dave has returned. And from there,
yeah.
and from there, he decided to grow it out. Pretty much.
I was like, let's see what happens here and see my tolerance of actually growing hair. Because again, like I said, it had been fucking forever and a day.
Hey, it's caught on YouTube though for the duration. If you think about
It could be its own insert set. Instead of like the Bonds home runs, or let's say you go through a Pete Rose hit by hit, if they were to do that or something like that, it's like episode by episode. You could do that and just do number 1, 2, 3. I mean, a lot of them would look the same, but you could see a progression. So
I like Orlando's notation. New head, but same mouth.
That's the fucking truth, because that'll never change.
Hashtag facts.
Watch in Chicago. That's all you have to see. It doesn't change. Our children are around. It when I'm helping coach, I try very hard. But at a card show, my observations might ones that you'd say, hey, you might want to keep that between the ears. Well, it's like somebody took the plunger in the old pinball machine, and well, that thought was right in front of that plunger, and fuck, there it goes out my mouth. Whoops. So, not like I'm doing it all the time, though. I'm not like Andrew Dice Clay. I'm not just fucking spitting stupidity all the time. Some of you guys might disagree. Some of the haters might say, well, that's a bit of that bullshit there, but no, I'm not constantly fucking piping off and being a cunt. A lot of the time, yes. All the time, no.
We have our moments. Some worse than others, depending on situation and circumstance. Because to this day, Still, the foul mouth guy, this guy, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, it
I'm just saying.
the one that gave you that moniker seemed to disappear into the abyss.
Well, this is true too.
So
I
maybe
mean,
he gave his opinion, and then somewhere someone else in some other world just said, you know what? Take the old what in the 30s, and you were on the stage and you were doing some maybe the improv, almost like a gong show. They had the big old hook, like pull you off. Somebody pulled them off into that fucking abyss. And
well, this is true too.
adios.
I mean, I seem to be the one to get all the nicknames, and I'm still trying to understand why me. But hey, whatever makes people feel happy. I'm here for everybody else. Maybe, I don't know. Perhaps. Vinny, thoughts? Squirrel.
Stand on a dog.
Yeah, rub it in, Orlando. Rub it in. Congratulations, but don't rub it in. I didn't even watch the game last night. I mean, from the NBA perspective, if Dallas isn't in the playoffs, I don't watch it. So that's just how I roll. But I didn't watch the Stars last night, and when I happened to turn it on, I was like, "Oh crap, the Stars are playing!" And I don't know, like 10 minutes left in the third period or whatever, and I'm like, "What in the French toast happened? Like, did they not even show up to play?" So I can still root for my Rangers, even though I don't watch baseball often. But they are sitting atop their division. They can just if they can just get the bullpen a little bit more in check, they'd be doing even better than what they're doing. Because shit, I know of 5 or 6 games that I know of when I've checked the scores in which the bullpen has blown the game. Which I don't know. With Maddox being back as the pitching coach, I wouldn't have expected that. But then again, first year back, trying to probably figure stuff out. So it's not like I've given up hope on them by any stretch of the imagination. But they're playing decent baseball.
And that was something going into the season that was going to be not a weak spot per se, but something like if you're looking for areas of vulnerability when you have Leclerc as like your closer and he's it's like the old Joe Table, the Jose Mesa. I mean, you'd get out of 10 appearances, you'd probably get 6 that were like standard. Okay, you get 1 inning, a hit, a walk, a K, you get the save. You make it interesting. You'd get one that was like, okay, 1 inning, 2 Ks, like 10 pitches. You're like, oh, this is what we're looking for. The other couple 3, you might not even make it out of a half inning, and you're giving up either hits or walks and wild pitches, pass balls, hit by pitch, and it looks like a winning lottery number for your line at the end. So they that's something I'm thinking that deadline, if they're still in it, which that offense has just been a mashing unit. Garcia, I think he's already up to 50 RBIs. Again, didn't hurt that I think he had 30 in April, sort of cooled off a little. But he had the 3 homers in a game, 8 RBIs. Your catching tandem when Garver isn't hurt, Jonaheim and Garver two of the best in the league. That's not saying a lot because, I mean, it's not like 20, 25 years ago with catching actually being something where you had to bat at least 240, 250. Now it's like if you're batting 150, you're a starter. That's one every, 9 at bats, one every 8 at bats going up there and getting a hit. Josh Young has been the player that's been advertised. I'm thinking, well, Leote, he's back in like center. He's been playing, and that's another guy that up, down. Figured out in AAA, come back up, show flashes, then go on an extended slump, back down to AAA. So
They've got depth from the youth perspective.
yes.
So it's one of those. It's as long as they try and figure out ways to keep the core in place, pick up maybe a few other. I'll call them more situational players. You know, get a little bit more depth on the bench. Figure out the bullpen. Figure out actually who your closer actually is going to be because they keep kind of going back and forth. They haven't identified who it really is going to be. I think they're going to be good for years to come, which is, takes me back to when they were in the postseason, made it to the World Series. It's just that's what it takes me back to. Now that doesn't. I mean, it's still early. Let's face it. There's still 100 games left in the season,
Yeah,
or a few more. Could definitely turn around real quick, but what I've seen to this point, I can say it's been nice to be a Rangers fan. There's a lot of upside. So
yeah, you haven't had much to cheer for in the last decade or so. I mean, ever since Josh Hamilton sort of fell off his sobriety from there.
Call it what it is.
So
yeah, Rick, not for what was given up.
No. That was
Are you referring to the trade, Rick? And I sure the hell wouldn't pay that for a Curry card either.
No.
Then again, I wouldn't pay that for any card. I'm a working poor man, so that's not gonna happen.
Those are called homes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
yes.
or awesome toys, or like a motor home, even like not a huge one.
Like a trailer, a travel trailer.
A good camper, something. You can get a couple side-by-sides, wheelers, buy some guns, ammo. I mean, something. I'd rather have that. A fallout shelter. Who knows? I'd probably rather have that.
At this rate, we probably wouldn't need it.
Yeah.
A beach house, a lake house. I mean,
several dream vacations over.
Yes.
I mean,
yes. Yeah, there's. Of course, we're simple folks here. I mean,
that's the thing. People do that and they don't think of like a big picture. It's so fucking focused in the one thing. It's like, if I'm giving up all that vintage.
Well, and on the flip side, okay, let's look back on things though. So let's say we go back to the year that card was pulled. Okay. Or one of them would have been pulled.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, breaks were the same price across the board. Random teams. So on an NT break for basketball, $70-$80. It's not a Not a huge chunk of change, but not minuscule either during those times. And to pull that card and to sit on it for all this time and then sell it. Okay, great investment.
And even then, that might be high.
Correct. But I'm just throwing out numbers here.
Because the Exquisite, when that came out, that was what, 400-ish? When it dropped in like 03, 04.
It was $60 a spot on average for Exquisite. 55 between 55 and $60. I bought into not any basketball, but I bought into a few football breaks. But let's say take it back 10 years. And let's say somebody bought that card for $15,000. Would we be having the same conversation? Steph Curry is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's got the championships. He's not Jordan. He's not LeBron. He's not Kobe. But from a popularity perspective, he's up there.
Yeah.
But we're also talking about a situation in which it's way out of our ballpark. So to us, it's like we can't even really, it's like comparing apples to oranges because we would never be in that ballpark in the first place.
You're comparing apples to lug nuts.
That's even better of an analogy. But personally, what was given up for said Curry card?
Not a chance.
Not a fucking chance. Not a fucking chance. I don't give a shit if Curry goes on to win the most championships ever. And freaking like somehow surpasses LeBron as the points or as the, the points leader. No. Never, ever, 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 ever. Because the only thing that has really been consistent in our hobby overall, now I'm not going to bring out numbers, but vintage is what always seems to maintain. Yes, you're going to have it up, its peaks and valleys like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing compared to what we've seen in the modern card market. You're talking like this.
Mm-hmm.
Vintage, you're like this. It's in that little happy medium section.
It's like a kiddie coaster. I mean, you're gonna have a couple ups, but you're gonna have, you go and again your rides in Florida, like whatever, like a death drop, a death tower, or whatever, when you just like drop straight down. You're gonna have that with modern stuff, ultra and regular stuff all the time. Because again, one game, Desmond Ritter fucking goes 17 for 41, 138 yards, 2 INTs, and a fumble.
And or pick six. Go ahead and throw a pick six in there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't fucking care how much you believe in a player of that caliber. He was a third round fucking quarterback. And that was for a reason.
I'm going to throw this out there. And this is, I don't expect anybody to be able to answer legitimately. Okay? It's a hypothetical, but has anybody taken into consideration that people are taking substantial risks on later round quarterbacks? Because 99.9% of the collecting world missed out on Brady.
Oh, 100%.
And people aren't wanting to make that mistake again. But here's the thing. Brady was, I'm not going to call him the GOAT. I refuse to use that terminology. Brady from a numbers and a Super Bowl trophy perspective, is top dog. We all can agree from that perspective, he is top dog. He's also been playing freaking for 65 years. Okay, maybe not. I'm exaggerating. It took him a long time to reach that pinnacle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We all know he was the late round draft pick, sat in freaking bargain boxes. You could have picked up contenders rookie autos for like $20 all day long. And we as the collecting conglomerate, most of us missed out on that. At least early on. Once he started playing that first Super Bowl, people started grabbing onto stuff. And of course, prices slowly started to uptick. Okay. It's just how shit happens. So to me, it's like people are risking stupid money
Mm-hmm.
to try and avoid the same miss of not grabbing a hold of Brady's shit early on. I mean, I have a 2000 Upper Deck set with Brady. I have his Heritage rookie. There were other rookie cards that I looked at, but I was preferring to purchase sets. Now, this was 20 years ago. Almost 20 years ago. Okay, not 20 years ago, because that's 2003. But I'm throwing out numbers. I'm throwing out round numbers here. I still, for whatever reason, couldn't justify spending, $100 on a 2000 branded set to get a Brady. Why? I don't know. Because he still hadn't reached the pinnacle, of course, of what he is now within his career after he retired. Or so we think. So even then, I probably should have. Probably should have picked up more stuff. But it wasn't, quote unquote, for the resale. Yes, it was for the investment, but the future investment, as in like when I'm 6 feet underground type shit. Did I look at buying 2000 SP Authentic boxes and taking a chance? You damn right I did, because I thought it would have been really freaking cool to pull one. But at $300 a box, I'm like, I'd rather buy something else because huge risk. But it's always the shoulda, coulda, woulda. And all of us can relate to that. Okay, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us. Not all of us can be like Orlando and own a 52 Topps mantle. Rookie. Anybody? Anybody going to yell at me?
No, because that's the correct nomenclature.
No, it's not.
It at that time you had so many, and again, this is the fun part about when people don't collect in a certain era. You don't fucking know, and I hate to use this word, and I wish if we were all together, somebody'd throw a beer bottle at me. You don't know the vibe of like the hobby at the time. You go into the draft, it's 6th round, 199, whatever, who cares? You look at the fucking combine then, and Tom Brady literally looks like your uncle from at that point in time. That, hey, I'm in a beer league, softball league Thursday nights. And all I do fucking Saturday and Sunday, my days off, I might mow the lawn. And that will be literally the extent of my physical labor. And you look then at what Michigan quarterbacks had done. It wasn't like a fucking factory of like, oh my God, here's the next Michigan quarterback. you had Brian Greasy, was again okay, but
Decent.
you had the pedigree, the name, so a lot of folks expected Bob Greasy Jr. You didn't get
no. Decent. I'll give him a decent grade.
You had Harbaugh, and I mean that's a little further back. That's the mid late 80s he was in. Again, a journeyman, a Josh McCown type where he put up serviceable numbers. He got the Colts to what, the AFC title game? I think 95 or 96, because I want to say it was that year. If it wasn't that, it was like the conference like semis or whatever. But I mean, he had a decent career, a lengthy career. And again, as a coach, probably better than a player if you start to really like do a deep dive into numbers and whatnot. And I know there's more. I mean, Steve Hutchinson at the time was another guy, because I think him and Brady were like 1A and 1B. So I want to say in 01, that was Hutchinson's year coming out. Because it was like him and Quincy Carter from Georgia, and people are all jazzed up after them. After Vic, it was those guys. You had just, and it was always like, oh, Michigan, the quarterback university. Well, you didn't have any great quarterbacks coming out. It wasn't like, again, 60s, 70s, when you had a handful of college teams. There wasn't 135, 145 Division One. Then you had how many Division Two teams? Where again, half of those are of adequacy. You can pick and choose some players off there and have serviceable or decent NFL careers. So at the time, it wasn't like fucking Tom Brady. Even if people that were going to buy Tom Brady at that time were one of three categories. Michigan fans, which again, you harken back 20, 25 years, like Micah Destemic, if you fucking like the team, you could pick up your guys. You could pick up David Terrell, Tyrone Wheatley, Greasy, Steve Hutchinson. You could pick up these guys and just put them away. Like, I like Michigan. I don't care if it's Michigan uniform. That's a plus. But at the same time, if it says they went to Michigan, I want a card of them. So people might have picked up a Brady, like, I want to get an autograph of his contenders at the time, because I remember, you said it before. I remember back at Buy Sell Trade seeing him on there for 20, 25 bucks. And not just like, oh, there's one. There's like fucking 25, 30 of them. And you have 20, 25, 30 bucks, whatever in that range, or trade for ABC.
Yep.
You had Patriots collectors. Again, there wasn't a huge swath of them like there are now. You have 20 years of a solid franchise, 25 years. At the time, that was sort of like your Jacksonville of last year. It's like, okay, you've got pieces there. We're intrigued. There's promise, potential, possibilities. But again, I want to see how it all plays out, because again, there's still a lot of combustible elements. Bledsoe, again, I love him. Steve loves him. But there's times when you just didn't know how he was going into the game. And thumbs up for other people. That might
No,
be
I was. Yeah, I was. He's not paying attention.
Well,
Thumbs up, Michael. You good? All right. I didn't want to just pop you. I just didn't want to pop you in here, and you'd be like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit."
I like turtles. And now you're on mute, so then when you start talking,
I just had to put my pants back on.
that's all right.
Did you
Been a lot
really?
of-
I mean, it's not like we can see.
Or like you had the set collectors. So I mean, that was
Yeah.
it. You didn't have fucking people sitting there and like, oh man, I wonder if this Tom Brady kid. I mean, look at his physique. Look at him lumber down for a 40-yard dash. I mean, look at the game film. Man, I want to throw money at him like fucking somebody at their bachelor party at a strip club. It's like, no, you're like, eh. And that class, that again hasn't held up like a lot of classes over time, but you had a ton. Maybe, possibly.
So, in other words, Dave. So this is basically what what we've come down to. Pay attention to any late drafted quarterbacks that are slow, what
Pocket
seems to be not accurate passers, things along those are the ones that you want to invest that 25K
limited mobility.
in.
If anybody goes back and says, well, I was collecting and I saw this at the time, grab your Jim Shoulder kit, get your fucking tennis racket, turn it sideways and fucking clock them in the temple because they're bullshitting you. That's trash. It was sets, and then a lot of people, there's a handful of redemption cards that are like contender set. I want to say
Mike Anderson.
Peter Warwick was one. He was being
Mike Anderson.
Who?
Mike Anderson.
Him as well.
Because I pulled it. Yes.
I know a lot of those because like I think some of the duels that were like numbered to like 20, 30, 40, whatever. Chris Redman and somebody else. That was I think like a fourth rounder. I think someone didn't sign. RJ Soward might have been one that didn't sign. But there was a lot that didn't sign. So you're okay, here's your redemption. You put that in a set. A lot of people did that because that was the set. It wasn't like, oh well, this redemption sucks. It's not, they didn't make it. No, that's your placeholder since the card was not made. But yeah, if people tell you, well, I thought Tom Brady was going to be a great quarterback from day one. They weren't collecting. I will fucking hook a lie detector test up and they will fucking blow that fucker up. Because it's bullshit. Utter fucking bullshit. And pay $23,000 for Desmond Ritter. I'd rather pay $23,000 for a fucking John Ritter. I mean, I don't know. It's just stupidity. I mean, people just, I think
they signed copy of Bad Santa.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely other things that we would all spend $23,000 on instead of a Desmond Ritter.
And I think at this point in time with some of those douchebags, it's like, let's fucking make a outlandish purchase just to get in the news cycle. That's what it is. It's fucking, how dumb can we be with some of this money? If you make something, if you had a whatever, let's say you had a Steph Curry NT, you had like $1,000 into it. Let's say you had 2 copies. You've had them forever. You sell one of those to some fucking bumbling idiot numbskull that's down in like Atlanta, Georgia area. And then you also get some old vintage stuff that's real nice. You can parlay some of that. You can be like, well, I got 30,000. I wanted to spend on something dumb. Especially if you're one of these fucking knuckleheads that has been eating paint chips since they fucking slipped out of their mother's. And hey, now we're in the news again. I'm getting views. I'm getting subscribers, Patreons, Discord. It's like you'll be in the news cycle for 3-4 weeks, possibly longer, depending on how many card shows are there, and the same fucking 5 people are tickling your taint. Like, oh, let's see that Ritter you bought. Man, this is going to be an investment that nobody would have seen coming. Well, yeah. Fucking nobody would have seen it because it's
Says absolutely nobody.
Ray Charles could see it's a fucking stupid purchase.
Well, I'll say this, to each their own. At the end of the day, you know, if they want to freaking spend stupid money on something that just seems just completely off in left field, whatever. But the only way that like I would do something like that is if I had like endless amounts of cash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you can afford a $23,000 loss. Now, 10 years from now, we may be rehashing this conversation saying, hey, that $23,000 investment, you know, paid off.
Mm-hmm.
That same card sold for $24,000. You get kind of where I'm going with this, but you know, I just, to each their own. To me, that kind of cash on something that, or somebody that is 100% not even, they're still green, man. They still have there's so many intangibles. There's so many situations. There's so many scenarios that can, you know, better the value or worsen the value. You know, it just, like, to me, why do something like that to be relevant in the space? Because like you said, that's ultimately what it boils down to. People trying to be relevant in the space and getting themselves back on top of the news cycle. And for what? This week's dumbest investment goes to the dumbass who paid $23,000 for a Desmond Ritter. That's what the headline should read.
The profit margin on these cards, if they're for investing and selling purposes, and even the flipping. I bought this flawless Tatum card for $1,500. I sold it for $1,700. A profit's a profit, okay? But if you're flying from Florida to California, staying out there for 3 days, paying a cameraman, going to Morton's Steakhouse, playing Baccarat and losing $3K, I don't know about you, but that $200 is gone pretty quick. It's oof. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, like it's mind numbing. Why wouldn't you buy? I can't even think of an example. Somebody who's going to be in the NFL that's going to be a Hall of Famer. Sherlock, like, thank you, better half. Now you chime in.
Peyton rookie.
Yeah.
Red Grange, you know, like old school shit.
Or something that there's a guy, because I'm not going into hockey, because you're not getting my hot takes, you pricks. Not our audience, but the people that come in here and look for that kind of stuff. We know who you are. You could float away. Anyhow, it's like Buster Posey, for example. You know the dude's going to the Hall of Fame. Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, Miggy. Here's guys in that realm that have a pretty good chance to go into the Hall of Fame. Ben Roethlisberger. Nobody's thinking about Ben right now. Is he going to probably get an uptick when he goes to the Hall of Fame? Probably. Over time, those cards will go little incremental growth.
Mm-hmm.
Move weight. Don't move 1 or 2 cards. Move weight. Buy a bunch of cards cheap, grade them, get the profit margins at 50%, sell 300 cards and make $30,000. That's how you do things. You don't sell one card and make $600 and be like, look at me, I'm a grinder. I grind all day long. You have to hustle. I have to imagine it into the stratosphere, the hemisphere, the whatever it is. I see it. I visualize. No, you don't. Get out of here. Because you're not being transparent to all the other stuff that you're doing that nobody knows about. Are you eating beanie weenies when you go back to Florida? Are you only eating at the steakhouse when you're out on the camera? What are you doing?
Come on, man. It's ramen. They're eating ramen.
Whatever. But my point of it is, we see one part of it. We don't see it all. You could say, well, how much are you spending on this? How much you spending? What are you really making? Who's giving you money to spend? These $5,000 challenges. And then when you see other people buy stuff, you're like, why are you buying this garbage? Does people actually buy this stuff?
See,
It's numbered to 20. 1 second. It's numbered to 20. I know. I'm sorry. I usually don't do that. But it's numbered to 20. I don't care. It's a 4th string quarterback on a team that'll never see the field. But it's numbered to 20. Unless, like Dave said, I collect that team, collect that player, that college, some connection. Why are you wasting your time? Lightning's not going to strike 1,000 times. It's going to strike once, and we had it, Brady. Is there another chance of Lightning to strike again? Yeah. But there's only so many darts you could throw at that board. Like Bowman first. The only strategy is to keep as many as you can and hope one of them hits.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. You read the material. You go through the top 100 and say, remember what's his name? What was that guy, Dominguez?
Yep.
That everybody was hyped for? Don't hear nothing. Then all of a sudden Volpe comes on the scene and he's the second coming. And I don't even know what he's doing right now.
Under 200.
Yeah. And look at Torkelson. I was at a show. I could get $8 all day for this base Torkelson. I wonder if you can get that now because he's hitting his can't even hit his hat size. I mean, he has moments of beauty and moments of pure brilliance, but then there's something missing. And like I said, the thing about it is, in 2 days he could click and boom, there's a rookie for San Francisco. I was watching the other night. He hit a freaking bomb. Nobody was talking about that guy. I went online to look at it. Cards are selling for $24.50 a piece all of a sudden. Overnight. Boom.
Yep. It's the hype train. But I'm going to let everybody in on it. We'll see. See, Michael is the one that funds all these guys' trips. You see, he doesn't want any of you to know that. He's the money backer on all these motherfuckers. Why do you think he's been showing all these freaking phenomenal fucking badass cards? He won the lottery, folks. Okay, maybe not.
It's called finding 2 people that gave me nearly $8,000 for some Clay Matthews cards.
I know. You hadn't had a chance to talk much, and it's like, you know what? I give you an opportunity to chime in and chit chat a little bit. It's like, but Vinny, like you were saying, the hobby is not completely funding these guys. It's not. Not everybody has millions of dollars laying around in order to do shit. They have to have some sort of additional financial backing. whether it's some sort of investment, mom and dad, whatever. But, and it can't be, freaking sponsors either. Sponsors only cover so much of shit, and it may be only a small portion. So, for all of us, like I said, we don't get it because we're not playing in that ballpark. We'll never play in that ballpark. That's not our intention. That's not our goal. That's not our aspirations. We collect what we want to collect because we like it. Period. Granted, Dave has some really nice shit. Michael has some really nice shit. Vinny has some really nice shit, as do I. But it's not because of value or potential value.
No, because I could sell all the cards I own and I couldn't buy that $23,000 card.
Yep.
No.
I mean, that's what blows my mind when people pay. Just looking at seeing what like Colored Prism sells for these top rookies. I'm sure a gold Prism Trevor Lawrence rookie card out of 10, I'm sure that brings 5 figures. And I just sit there and think about, well, that one card is worth more than every card I have combined, and I don't understand it.
Yeah. Why?
It doesn't compute with me.
No.
It never has.
Well, and it never will. It never will for any of us. Because we look at things different.
Yeah.
Our mind works different. Now, let's face it. If any one of us pulled a Trevor Lawrence numbered to 10, it would be gone.
Oh, in an instant.
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
Even if it's a high 4 figures, it doesn't matter. It's like gone instantly. Yeah. See ya, bye-bye.
Yep. And I wouldn't even try to give top dollar. The first thing I would do if I were to hit a card like that is I'd just call Ryan and say, what will you give me on it? And then I would be done with it and out of it. I would drive to his shop. He would pay me in cash and I would be done with it. And I'll let him make whatever profit he's going to make on it. Because I'm not selling cards like that on eBay or on any of the other platforms to people I don't know.
Yeah, we're all we all think the same. It's like, what could I get by selling this?
Yeah.
Whether it be for myself, my house, my kid, my wife, other friends, it's like that's ultimately what we think about in those situations. It's not about who gives a shit. Take advantage of it, strike while the iron's hot in that situation all day long.
Yep.
I will return in a second.
Yeah, it's.
I bought a card while you guys were all talking.
I highly don't believe that. It doesn't seem possible.
I've sent probably 15 or 20 offers over the course of the holiday weekend into today, and one finally got accepted. It's just crazy that people out there, even on comps that are less than a week old, they still want $100 to $200 more than what. I mean, card that sold for $350, I've got people countering me at $500. I'm like, no. There was one today. It was where the seller sent me an offer, a discount. A card that was $550. They sent me an offer to buy it for $500. The last 4 have averaged $376. Like, why would you think that would be accepted? Because by the time I pay shipping and taxes and everything, I'm into it for $550.
Yep.
So I'm $175 more than what they've been averaging. It makes no sense. And it's real frustrating with what eBay did to me on the authentication process on that Shawn Michaels. That really screwed me because I got that card at a really good price and they wouldn't send it to me. And now I can't get anybody to sell it to me within $100 of what I had gotten it for.
What happened?
I bought a Shawn Michaels from Immaculate, a signature moves autograph, and I got it for $190 on eBay, and it had to go through eBay's authentication process. And it went there, it arrived, they inspected it, deemed that it had surface issues that the seller didn't mention, and refunded me my money and sent the card back to the seller. They don't give the buyer an option to review the findings and either say yay or nay. They just automatically send it back to the seller and give you your money back.
Okay, time the fuck out.
Yeah.
They are an authentication company. They are not looking, they're not to be looking at
Grading and
description compared to what it was described. That's the seller reaching out to them, basically saying, hey, I fucked up. I sold this for too cheap. Give it back.
No, well, I mean, it wasn't like I got a super crazy deal, but I got it for $20 to $30 less than what they had been selling for. So, I mean, it was a good deal for me in that instance, but the seller has no say in it either. You can't contact the people at eBay Authentication. Either one of us. There is no communication between them, and I just think that's one of the big problems with that process is what if I mean, when I'm buying Immaculate cards, I expect them to have surface issues. Every Immaculate card I've ever owned has surface issues. So if it's not blatantly just something terrible, then you should let it go, and they need to add that step to the process where they should contact the buyer and say, here were our findings. Do you want the refund or do you want the card? Because what happens if I buy an old 101 with a damaged corner that they don't mention in the description, but I know it's there because I see the pictures, and eBay decides to refund me my money? That would be an awful situation.
100%. But bottom line is they are there to authenticate the card as real, as legit.
Yeah. I thought so.
That's it. Unless there's a change in their services, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. The email caught me off guard. I was bummed. And a buddy of mine goes, well, I'm in several wrestling groups. He goes, I can try to track one down for you. And I said, truthfully, it's kind of soured me on the card for the moment. I'm not interested in buying one.
Well, at least you're not the only one it's happened to. LA Pat says it's
I just saw that. Yeah, I think the buyer should have a say in the matter.
Well, and what's interesting, and don't quote me on this, but when I bought my quad patch Auto 101, when I got it in from authentication, there was something notated on like the pamphlet or whatever that they don't authenticate memorabilia.
No.
And technically, which means they shouldn't authenticate signatures.
No.
All they're doing is supposed to authenticate that the card is in fact legit.
Yep.
But I mean, fuck me. That would like going back to your example, an old school 101 that's not slabbed, so you don't know what the grade is, and it wasn't listed with some sort of damage on a corner or a dimple or something like that, and they freaking send it back. I mean, regardless if you're a player collector, uh, team collector, whatever, just in general, that would royally fucking suck.
Yeah.
Well, all this talk had me curious. So the other night, I procured that.
Okay.
For a hefty
Oh.
price tag, I went and found it.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, mention a card price a better half a they.
Ukfay.
Yeah. So I won 3 cards, and apparently they separated the 3. 2 they shipped to me, and apparently this is going through authentication process.
Mhm.
Which
if
it
this
would.
thing doesn't friggin' make it here, I'm gonna lose my you know what.
Yeah.
I've been working to get this card for 3 friggin' years.
Yeah.
3 years.
That was stout, and you talk about strong.
And I almost lost.
Talk about strong.
And like I said, I almost lost.
But I get it. It's looking back on like my situation in the Shield. With where it was at, and it was, yes, it was progressing higher. As the days got closer. But in hindsight, I should have gone more. But even if I would have gone like my top, I still wouldn't have won it. So, like in that situation, it's like, fuck me, I would have been screwed either way. My only hope is that it ended up with another Terrell Davis collector. That's all I can hope for. Or a Broncos collector for that matter. But I'm going to be pissed off if I freaking go to National and I see it at somebody's table and it's now sitting at like $1,600 or some shit.
Yeah.
Or
You know.
4 or 5 days.
So
Tonight, instead of Steve having, well, interesting. Usually you hear the fire siren, Steve, and the freeway out there, but
yeah, well,
I got this in today.
something that
The ticket stub on card jersey number 33 out of 33 of Mr. Aaron Jones. This was a big upgrade to the Aaron Jones I had in my collection. I am super pumped to get that one.
so that's the one you were talking about last week.
Yep. It fits everything that I like. It's on card. It's jersey numbered. It's got some hollow foil to it. Just a beautiful card. So I was really happy to get that one in.
Yeah, that decal edge at the top is a sweet touch.
Yeah, I liked how they did that. They put the decal on the top and then cut off the bottom corner, so it does look like a ticket stub.
Yeah, that's a nice looking card.
Yeah, just came in the mail today. I actually opened it up right before I got on here, so I had to get some pictures.
So I don't remember if I had this.
Is that the number to 100?
Kerry Collins.
Yep.
Very nice. Walter Payton 101.
That's the die cut parallel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Another triple.
One of many.
Yep. What's that number to, Dave?
50.
Okay.
How many copies do you have?
20.
I know it's more than one.
Yes.
I think I've got more of the other one. The Verlander Weaver. I think I've got like 12 or 13 of those, and probably 8, 9 of those.
Wow.
And those are like, again, Vinny's got a card or 40 that every time it pops up, he's going after. That's the same with those for me. It's tough to not. If it's in the realm of getting it, or the buy it now is okay. That's the price I'll pay. Whatever. I don't care. It's like I really don't want it, but or I don't need it. I want it, but it's like, oh, okay, fuck, just get it. Because there's been a few in the past where it's like, okay, other collections. It'd be like the Facebook auction groups. There'd be stuff on there, and there'd be like a quad to 25. I mean, Johnson's like the only guy in there that did shit. I mean, it's like Ryan Bannister and all these other scrubs. It's like, I don't need that. I mean, I've got 3 copies. Well, now I wish I had that 4th. Because again, I haven't seen one pop up in I don't know how many years, but it's just like that's when the collecting is fun, even if it's something we got. You need to pick something up of the guys you really collect, the guys you follow, the team you like. It's, I almost say, imperative to keep that part of like that hobby like burning. I mean, it can be a campfire and the fucking embers are real low. I mean, you're not going to put a huge log on there. You put a few things of kindling on there, it's going to get going again. The newspaper down, shred that up a little bit, and then it reignites the fire. And that's what I think truly keeps us going. You don't sit there and, again, the fucking big cards are great. I mean, if you can pop one off and boom, quad 101 auto limited. Fuck off. Fuck yeah. That's a monster. That's fucking Stephen King style. The Favre flawless. That's not Charlie Brown trying to kick the ball. That's Charlie Brown kicking fucking stupid Lucy's cunt for trying to move the ball away every goddamn time and splitting her in 2. Fuck you. That's fucking huge. So stuff like that, I mean, do we all want to sit there and hammer those cards every fucking time we can? God, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because again, it's going back to like the upbringing, it's competitiveness. You don't sit there, play your game, and oh well, I lost. Now let's fucking sit around and sing Kumbaya. Fuck you. I'm pissed. I'm taking a bat, and if people are fucking cackling and laughing, I'm gonna fucking hit them in the ribs. Be like, fuck off. We just lost, you cunts. Shut up. I want to go out there and practice for another hour and a half because I'm fucking pissed. Now, yay. That was just a game. I don't care. I want hugs and a cupcake. That's like the cards. We want the big ones, so when we fucking lose it, it's, you want to push all your shit in a fucking burn pile and just be like, it's not 2020 tops. I'm sorry. I can't do that, but I'll fucking throw these in there. I don't care. You just get so fucking pissed. And especially if it's something within reason or something that, again, like the Johnson Super going for whatever, 250 or 225, whatever. It's like, what do you fucking do?
Did you go for a consolation, Dave? Did you like go
that's the
paint
thing,
purchase something else?
There's nothing really up there. It's not like, oh man, there's like another JJ fucking 101, even a plate or something. It's like, I can't pull the trigger on that. And that's basically, it's the Ben Brodeur and Johnson I've just looked at. That's it.
Well, and I get it. That's why I was asking, because, I mean, opportunity presented itself. Miss out on the shield, and I've showed it, my consolation. You know, I've shown it a few times. Everybody's seen it. Numbered to 5, beautiful card, a third of the price of the NT Shield Auto that I lost. But this was the right opportunity. This was available. I had the fundage, so I did one of those hate purchases. It's like, oh, okay, screw you. I'm gonna miss out on this huge centerpiece card. I'd never seen this one. Yep, this one will be mine. So I made damn sure it was gonna be mine.
And that's just like for that. When you say what would you pivot towards, or what did you pivot away from, or whatever, you did something after, like, 'cause you don't want to sit. You don't want to blow your wad on something you don't fucking care about. But in the same sense, you're just so fucking angry. You're like, give me something good. The old song. So you pivot towards that. It's like, for me, it's like, okay, the next JJ that comes up, I'm not gonna go stupid, but in the same sense, maybe something like an old Allen and Ginter, like a red ink, where I've got several copies of several years. It's like, well, I know the last couple have went up a little. They've been around like 45, 50. It's like, well, I'll put 150 on there. If I win it for 100, I don't care, because it's to 10, and I fucking love them. So, or it's one of those patches, the sweet spot patches. One of those comes up. I know the last one I had on one of those, the ComC order I had back in October. When I finally requested shipping on that, I know one of those was like 25, and I mean that was over the last 6 or 7 I'd bought. But I'm like, if you love that card and there's X amount out there, and it's feasible to do it within your budget, fucking hammer it. Like, again, let's say, I don't know who else. Let's say Donald Driver has one of those veteran tickets. Let's say, just hypothetically, he's got that and it's 80 of 80. Michael's going to go after it because that's in his wheelhouse. And if you get to Aaron Jones, let's say Edgar Bennett's got one, Leroy Butler's got one, Mark Tauscher's got one. You start getting these guys that's like, okay, these are not maybe the Butler, yes. Edgar Bennett, no. These are guys that are Packers. When you are a Packers fan, you fucking know these guys. Somebody says Edgar Bennett, you're like, boom, I am putting 1996 immediately. Dorsey Levens, people of that ilk. So you're going to go after them. And even if you lose like some stuff you really want, there's always a fallback option.
Yeah.
A lot of times, it's not like, oh, right away. It's there. Again, Steve got lucky with that one. But I mean, sometimes you're like, okay, now I got to sort of sit and stew. And that's what you don't want to do, because then you're like, well, fuck, should I bid more on that? No, it was fucking dumb. That was a high price, even if you're fucking tripping ass and fucking just had a fifth the jack. I mean, no. That's more than one of my, I'm trying to think who, Sid Luckman. That was more than my Sid Luckman auto. So I can justify it just by saying I wouldn't have paid more for that JJ Super than a Topps Triple Threads booklet, the 3, or a fucking Sid Luckman cut autograph. So am I going to be pissed until I find that and it comes to its correct home? Yes, because that's how I am with Josh Johnson. That's like with Michael and some Clay Matthews. Used to be like all of it. I'm still fucking in shock, bewilderment. I mean, it just doesn't register. I get where, okay, I've got that one and my fingers are on the brass ring. I've got 4 here or whatever. He's got 2 plus some other, a jersey numbered one. I'll switch. I'm like, no. I'm taking those, I'm keeping mine, and I'm giving you 2 of these. So that will be the trade and some funds, because I'm like, that, again, I always credit you for that, because there are not, that is a very finite amount of player collectors, team collectors, whatever collector you may be, that would fucking work those deals. And I mean, this isn't just the one deal. This is a multitude of deals where you've pushed stuff over to that side, and that stuff 3-4 down the road, the Lux, the silver board or auto or whatever, comes back to you. And it's like, so much of that stuff.
But it's gone again.
Yeah, I know.
That was one. That might be the only one I really kind of question a little bit, just because it's so unique in what you can collect of Clay. It's his only framed autographs that he's in. It was in that year of Lux. And I want to say it's the only product he ever had white ink autographs in as well. So that one was hard to give up, because while I have tons of 101s, that is a unique 101, and that I can't get anything similar. But hopefully, I mean, it may come back to me again one day.
Finding it on some fucking 4th tier trading site, and just like, no, this can't be right. You gotta be kidding me. And again, finding it was Jack, Suns Fan 8, I think, who initially had it.
Really?
If I'm correct in my thinking.
Yeah.
So, and again, somebody we didn't know at the time at all, and now I'd say a good friend. I mean, if we see him, we'll probably talk to him. Again, a little odd, but that's the way we like the people.
Yeah.
I'd rather have odd people than fucking Jeff Wilsons and Jeremy Lees. I don't want to have fucking people that are smelling buttholes all day. That doesn't work.
No.
So then off that, I think.
And then the other one you found me was that Topps High Tech 101 autograph.
Yep.
The Galactic one. And that was a process, because that person had an IQ of about 37. It was very difficult to get a deal worked out with them. I ended up talking with them on the phone, because you found them in some obscure card website, wasn't it?
I think both of them were that just, it wasn't
neither one of them were Blowout. It was the other one that you were in.
It was like that it used to be Collector Planet. I think it might have been. And I don't know if they went tits up or not, but I mean, it was like, yeah, the one I'd been on, the football guys after.
Or it might have been Sports Card Forum.
Wherever it wasn't your normal,
No.
Oh boy, marketplace blowout.
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. No, I mean, we're sitting there and we're like combing through the dredges just to try to find something, and then lo and fucking behold, there's wow, Clay Matthews 101. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And I know I found stuff on the was it the Monday night group? One of the Monday night groups, I think I sent you a 101 or a 105 or something, like super dumb low numbered, and one of those old reactions of, where the fuck did you find this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Internet.
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird where things will show up.
Yeah. And where people aren't really bidding, because it's like, well, I like the Packers, but I mean, if it's a Packers week, you have Favre, you got Jordy, you got Cobb, you got whoever the new, you have a cool Eddie Lacy rookie premier patch to whatever 50, and people get excited for that. And I'm like, well, I'm looking at a Clay Matthews in that corner there, so you guys fucking fawn over this stuff and don't mind me as a Homer Simpson meme it into the fucking bushes with the Clay
right
$20 price. So yeah, it's always fun finding that stuff.
Mhm.
Like I said, I've said that many a time. I know we all feel the same. Finding something that for your friends is so much more gratifying and satisfying than fucking
Mhm.
constantly. What? Well, I need to add the next card to my collection. No, well, you're a fucking cunt, so that's the card you get. Dipshit.
Yeah, it's always fun to find rare stuff and send the people pictures and links and all that good stuff. I know I've done it for you guys. I do it for Grant all the time, and it's mainly because Grant and I have a lot of the same taste. Like we'll look at a picture on eBay, somebody will post, and they'll have 50 cards they picked up from a show this weekend. And we'll both message each other and we'll both pick out the same card out of the whole group. Be like, dude, look at this. He's like, yeah, that's the same one I saw too. And it's I live vicariously through him on a lot of stuff because he can afford cards that I cannot. And him getting the Favre NT like Shield Auto, like the one that Steve missed out on. When that card popped up on eBay for $4,000, I was like, I have it in the bank. I would be really stupid to spend it all, but man, did I want it. So I just forwarded it to Grant and said, hey, check this out. And then he ended up buying it within the next few days.
Yeah. If that's like a $2,000 price, you're like, oh, that's a.
Oh, if it was $2,000, I would have bought it and said, send me a postcard from Chicago. I mean, I would have. If it was, because I'm never going to have an opportunity to buy a card like that. And if I could have gotten it for that price, you're damn right I would have bought it and figured out the rest later.
Well, and I think we all would have been jumping up and down and congratulating you and patting you on the back from afar.
Yeah.
For something like that, though, too, because situations like that don't happen often.
No.
I mean, even from my perspective, yeah, obviously I should have gone more, but I'm glad I didn't, because that would have ruined my experience in Chicago.
Yeah.
And does it still hurt? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I'm still satisfied with what I turned that experience into.
It's going to be a real bummer when you get to Chicago and everything you want is 500% and you're buying nothing.
Well, I'm shopping for two of these guys that are on the
right, but still, it's going to happen.
You're
like,
right.
I've bought so few cards in Chicago, and it's just a bummer because a lot of the same booths that are there every year have the stuff I like, and it's just always way too much money. It just doesn't make enough sense. Now, this year, because I'm broadening what I'm buying, I have a feeling I'm going to find some stuff and whatnot. Like the card I bought tonight was a card from 2001 that just recently got pulled out of a box. It's a Buck O'Neil autograph, and it's a fresh card. The autograph is so bold, and it's shaky because Buck was, he was old, but I absolutely love it because he's a legend around here, and that's what it. I don't know if I'm even going to get it to. Yeah, it right there. Okay. The 2001 Fleer, and it's the Stitches in Time.
That is friggin' gorgeous. I love Buck O'Neil.
Nice. Yep. That's a nice looking card.
And I offered more than what his stuff typically sells for. His autographs usually sell from $50 to $75. I saw that one. The guy had 150 or best offer on it. I offered $100 and he accepted it. And I'm like, awesome. I was very happy that they didn't try countering me. They recognized that I paid strong on it. And I was like, that's awesome. He's an autograph I wanted in my collection. $100 easy.
Well, yeah, and again, for a deceased legend, you win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, he's not signing anymore. If you
Thank
find
you.
that, you're probably going to see some chipping on it or indentations or whatever the case may be if that's packed fresh.
Yeah.
Come out smelling like roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a win-win.
Yeah, the seller he had 2 autographs from that product for sale, so I'm sure he busted a box or 2 and pulled them.
Mine was
Yeah, speak-
gifted.
What's that?
My Buck O'Neill was gifted to me,
Yeah.
and it holds a special place because the one card show I didn't get to go to because I was at university, and my brothers went to the show, and he was there, and no one knew who he was. Legit, no one knew who he was, and he sat there and talked to my brothers for almost 45 minutes.
Wow.
And they're like, how do people not know you, sir? I mean, he's the voice of the Negro Leagues to me.
Yes.
When you hear his voice, I still get chills because when you're watching Ken Burns baseball and he talks, it's just like you listen.
Yeah.
Because his knowledge of baseball through the annals of time, he was there. He knows.
Mhm.
And like, you hear his story about when Babe Ruth hit a ball, there was a sound. And then Bo Jackson hit a ball, there was a sound, this distinct sound. And he goes, not too many people. I think it was Babe Ruth, Josh Gibson. I could be wrong about the Josh Gibson and Bo Jackson. It was just pure, just unadulterated power that was put in that stroke of that bat. And it's like no one knew him. And it's to this day one of the saddest stories I've ever heard. And I wish I was there because I would have loved to meet him. To have
And
met him, let me use proper nomenclature.
And it's one of the biggest travesties in baseball history that they waited till he died to put him in the Hall of Fame. They had multiple decades to put him in and just sat on their hands. And then when he died, they're like, oh, well, maybe we should do something.
No kidding.
It's gross.
Yeah, it is.
The Royals have had there's a seat in the stadium that's down around home plate. It's a different color than all the other seats, and it's the Buck O'Neill seat, and they recognize people in the local Kansas City area and everything who do great things, and they honor them and bring them in, and they get to sit in that seat.
What better way?
And they've been doing that forever. And how do you mess up that bad not getting that guy in when he was still alive? Could you imagine his speech?
It would have been eloquent and perfect.
Yeah.
And there would have been no ill will in that speech towards anybody of
No.
long. Because that's the kind of stand-up dude he was.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
That's cool though about at the baseball stadium though that they do that. I mean, what better way to kind of have the legacy of him live on in that, that to me would be like the greatest honor that any sort of individual could receive. It's we're not going Nobel Peace Prize, we're not going all this kind of shit, but that's
right.
To sit there and be acknowledged for the good that you as an individual do. I mean, that's really fucking cool.
Yep.
So, on a positive note, Dave, we hadn't done this yet, so I'm going to actually do this. before we forget and before we keep losing viewers, because we keep dropping numbers. Should have done this when we were up to like 16. But for those that are still here, you will want to tune in 2 weeks from this Wednesday, June 14th. Yes, Dave, that is the date, June 14th.
Yeah. Two
It is
Wednesdays from tomorrow if we're not on our date. But yeah.
It is a Wednesday. So moving forward, we're on Wednesdays. After tonight, we'll be back to Wednesdays for a period of time.
Yep, a couple months.
But
anyway.
you do not want to miss the episode on June 14th. I promise you, you do not want to miss it.
What that guy?
Telling you now. If you miss it live, hey, we understand things happen, but you will definitely want to catch it on the archive. It is of momentous. It is a momentous occasion for the three of us. I don't want to speak for Michael. I'm unsure if Michael is aware. I don't know if you've told him, Dave.
No,
I know nothing.
If you're around for the after show, Michael, we'll go ahead and fill you in because you've been jumping on here. You've been here. You'll freaking, I think you'll get a kick out of it. So
It's gonna be good.
June 14th. Big.
Yeah. Better than
big.
Gabagool.
Big. Huge for us. 100% huge for us.
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
So I didn't want to keep waiting until it got later on because then it's like we'll forget about it. So don't be surprised if we bring it up again before we end the show. Next week's show, we'll probably talk about it again.
Early on when we got again, not saying, well, more viewers, it's better. It's like, no, more ears are going to listen when there's more.
Yes. Well, because it's not like we post it all over the place on Instagram, hey, come watch us. We don't do that crap.
We're rebranding. Now we're going to do this, and we're going to take stock of that, and we're going to have a culture over here, and it's essential to watch here. No, if you watch, you watch. If you don't, you don't.
But this has been building for 8 months.
It's like one of my farts. It's been building for a while.
8 months, I want to say, give or take. So I'm looking forward to it. I know Dave's looking forward to it. We know Vinny's looking forward to it. Michael, like I said, if you hang out in the after hours, we'll spill it for you. The only thing we ask is that you don't go spoil it anywhere else. We want it to be a surprise.
I don't talk to anybody.
That's not completely true.
Yeah, come on now. It's the old Don West. The old Don West when you heard him say, "If you can hear the sound of my voice."
And no, it is definitely not baseball collector. That I will go ahead and tell you.
Sorry.
So since we are coming up on an hour and a half, and since we really didn't touch on the subject last week, we'll harken back. We'll chat about the subject matter for the last little bit of the show, and we'll call it an evening early, maybe. I don't know. So if anybody paid attention, talking about summer, we always, every year we have this conversation as it pertains to what we're doing for the summer from a vacation perspective. I will at least go ahead and throw this out there. My summer vacation is Chicago. So this year, my wife, her and her dad usually go on an annual fishing trip. And so this year they actually decided to go to Galveston and actually do some deep sea fishing. Something
Marty-
that might do what, Dave?
With Marty Robbins?
No, not with Marty Robbins. So something she had never done before, something that she'd always wanted to do. Things worked itself out. We, of course, used the neighbor's timeshare, which, of course, helped keep the cost low. But even then, you know, but so she went and did that with her dad. Had a good time. I think she was left on a Thursday and came back on a Monday, I think. So, and that was shit. Now I don't even remember. Was that in May? Maybe it was late April. Because I'll be honest, I don't remember when my father-in-law's birthday is, but it was around his birthday. I'm terrible with dates. I haven't
Yeah,
heard
it
enough
was
time to
April.
remember my own shit. Thank you, Vinny, for confirming. So that was her quote unquote vacation. So this year, my vacation is Chicago. So yes, Mike, to answer your question, the four of us here on the panel, we will all be at National. So because she went on her vacation, me going to Chicago, there is no family vacation this year. So been the first for the last few years. You know, last year we were in Orlando and Destin for 2 weeks. But it's one of those in which I've yet to just go on a guy's trip. My wife has gone on girls' trips and, you know, random fishing trips with her dad and stuff like that. We were able to make this year work. So summer vacation is Chicago for me. And we haven't even started talking about next year yet, but I'm sure we'll re-up or we'll rehash the conversation. We'll do family vacation next year, I would assume, because I've already fair warned Dave and Vinny that Expo, although yes, it would be fantastic, it's going to have to wait a bit. But it would be the same situation. I'd fly into Michigan and we'd drive. Cheaper. But maybe next year, possibly. I don't know. Depends on situation, circumstance, but that's somewhere in the future. Because I definitely would like to go for the simple fact of being able to see some of our Canadian friends that may or may not come down to Nashville. So that's where I fall this year. Anybody else want to go, Michael, Vinny, before Dave chimes in?
Chicago is my vacation as well. I do have to go to Omaha for a wedding in July, but that doesn't count to me.
And that's not really a vacation. That's just taking vacation because you have to go somewhere.
Bingo. And their wedding's on a Friday. I wasn't happy about that. Because if it was on Saturday, I could just not take a day off and I could just drive up Saturday morning. Because Omaha is only like a 4-hour drive. Or maybe it's 6. I don't remember.
4 or 6. What
Yeah,
difference does it make?
I've made the drive a couple different times. I'm just blanking on it. I like Omaha. I would not mind living there.
Ozarks. I thought you were going. There's that next year.
Well, we're still talking about doing that.
Okay.
We were going to go down to the Ozarks, stay there, top of the rock and everything. But we decided that the money was better spent on a new bedroom set.
Okay.
We needed a new bed, bigger bed, all that stuff more than we needed a weekend away.
Priorities,
Yep.
necessities.
Yeah, I mean, those Arcs is a 2-hour drive for us, so it's not that big of a deal. We can go anytime.
And the pictures you showed are just fucking.
Oh, that place is beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's down there in Branson. It's where Tiger Woods designed golf course. It's Tiger Woods golf course. It's Payne Stewart something. I can't remember what it's called. But
I've been to Branson, but
Huh?
not the Ozarks. I said I've been to Branson.
Yeah.
Long drive from here, like 8 hours, I think.
Yeah, that's a hell of a drive.
Mike, we are staying in Sheridan, Illinois, so we're an hour outside of.
Yeah, I got the information from Dave a while back, and I went ahead and looked, and I saw it was about an hour and 15 minutes from Rosemont.
Yeah.
So that saves me time on the drive.
Does it? Does that actually get you in a little bit earlier?
I believe it does.
Yeah, it actually cuts down on our drive too, Vinny, if I'm not mistaken, a little bit. At least from where we're staying, but that.
Yeah.
At least on the way back, instead of like 6 hours, it's 5 or whatever. It's spitballing anyways. So I don't know what that does for Dave, because aren't you in Iowa the day before, Dave? Or around that vicinity? Wisconsin. Okay.
Just south of Green Bay.
Mark, that would require us to be at 1,000 subscribers. We need about 96 more in order for that to happen.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chicago, Mark, question. Not that we need confirmation, but since you're here, I'm going to at least pose the question. Are you still planning on crashing with us when we're in Chicago? Because I know last time we talked, you were planning on just kind of crashing with us, even though you're local. Save you a drive 1 or 2 nights, depending on how much libations we decide to consume. So his is Chicago, destination wedding. Who wants to go next? Vinny, Dave? I think I know Vinny's answer too, and I'm pretty sure I know Dave's, but Dave will probably still find a way to go camping.
Same time as last year. I mean, we are pretty much locked into our days until we give them up. So 10 or 11 days, that's where Trista is right now for the next 2 or 3 nights. So yeah, that's never gonna be something that, as long as
You
we're
give up.
Yeah, too much peace and quiet, and most of the time, and then just doing nothing.
That's cool though that you have kind of like your dates kind of preset though. So it's nice that you have that.
It'll vary between actual physical date, but like if we get there on a Thursday and we're leaving, or if we get there on a Tuesday or whatever, and then we leave the next Friday, those
Gotcha.
are whatever the date is that time. That's what we're locked into. So it's like whatever the 25th of August or 24th, whatever it may be, there till September 1st or September 3rd or whatever the case may be. So that for sure. Got tickets for Ed Sheeran, like August 12th.
I forgot about that one.
and then just the softball. I messaged that one outfit. If I'm gonna do that now, it's gotta be. So I think they're like 9 to 3 scheduling has. It must be, I don't know if it's classes or what the hell is going on, but it's like a big block that's out. So it's like stuff before or stuff till like whatever 6 or 7. So yeah, I don't know. I want to do it because she needs somebody that isn't somebody she knows, but somebody that's also very cognizant of abilities in deciphering imperfections in the wind up, and there's a ton, but there's still that good base there that she's got. And they got their stats today. I'm looking through like the not hers for like JV, but for varsity. I think that the best starting pitcher, and again, she's still only a freshman. The other, their main starter, who got hurt, and I know she was pitching through pain with that knee. I think her ERA was like 5.5. And then like the 3 other ones they put out there, an 8th grader, a junior, and a senior. Junior and senior, I don't think had ever pitched before. This is true, Mark. This is true.
That's all we've been saying. The show really is the bonus in hopes that, we can find some stuff. But it's just finally meeting people, hanging out. The experiences even outside the show.
Big
the
time.
Food, the fattening tour, as Dave calls it. And anything else we can drum up and figure out what we can do. I mean, yes, we're going to spend time at the show. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're going. But at the end of the day, it's all about like this group and just, freaking. We know each other very well, but this just solidifies it that much more. And I'm speaking for myself, but that is the most important aspect of this trip more than anything else.
Preach, brother, preach.
Absolutely.
Finally, also getting to meet the better half, meeting C. It's that going and staying at Vinny's house on Tuesday night before we leave on Wednesday. It's like I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to staying hanging out in the 2 rooms that we have, shooting the shit, drinking beer, eating food. Whether we go out, bring it doesn't matter. I just my only issue that I have with all this is how tired I'm going to be when I come back, because I did not take an extra day off for recovery. I fly back Monday afternoon, mid-afternoon. I get in at like 2:00 in the afternoon. And I get in at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Michigan. So it's like I tried to keep my flight around the same time. I may come home and just pass the fuck out.
Yep. You will.
Because it's straight back to work on Tuesday. And the reason I did that is because nowadays I'm a team of 2. So it's like I'm gone. I'm relying on my employee to hold down the fort the entire time I'm gone.
Yep.
And it's no different when she takes vacation. It's the same for me. So it's like I keep telling my boss, it's like, we need to push this. We need to get somebody in here. We need to get the old person replaced. But I've got the open rec. It's not like I have to create a new requisition for a new employee. I mean, I have an open rec, so I have an open place to put somebody. Just need the person. So, but, I am so, I can't say it enough. no regrets, no. I'm going in with no expectations, first and foremost, other than the fact of a kick ass fucking time hanging with my extended family. And that's what this is. This is the extended family. And there's no better way to spend your time.
Yep. It's what it is every time I go.
And like I said, I have my budget that I'm taking. If I don't buy a fucking card, I do not care. I do not care. Would I be disappointed because of my sole purpose in shopping for other people? Yes. But there is eBay. It's not like I don't have other options and avenues. It would just be cool to be able to acquire things and come home with them.
Yeah.
So then they're in my possession type situation already. But, it's not going to hurt my feelings if I don't find anything at all. Because I have an idea of what I'm looking for. And one, the price has got to be right. And it's got to be the right thing for what I have envisioned. And if it doesn't meet any of those qualifications, I don't give a shit. I'll come home with my budget minus whatever we spend on eating out and experiences. So from that perspective, I don't care. I've never had one, Mike. I drink smart. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So, Vinny, you're the only one that's left. Unless, Dave, you had anything else to add other than camping in August, Ed Sheeran sometime in August. You don't usually do anything much later in the year, though. Really?
No, just it's all gonna be for Naomi traveling the games or down to the cities for that training stuff. So that's it. Which again, I'm fine with that. I just to get around or get out of town once in a while, go down to Trista's and be with her and the pup and grill and because I know we got a couple of bigger or longer games back-to-back weeks. Little Fork, which is just south of International Falls, and I think it's in like 2.5 weeks, and I don't know if we'll be going because there's really no confirmation on anything. I don't. It looks like not. I think there's 3 or 4 that can't go. It's not like a deep team, but a tournament up in International Falls, 2 on a Saturday. So, which again, I don't know. I'm in the boat of wanting as many games as possible. That's what they need. And then today, one of the coaches, I'll call it girl, but lady that I graduated with, like, oh, there might be playoffs too, and I'm not saying in like front of Naomi yet. I'm too fucking bad. We're gonna be out of state, so I don't care.
Not that anybody cares, but so this is all the stuff I've already set aside for, and like I've said, it's all base inserts, parallels, that type of stuff, and then there's this little small stack for those that will be hanging.
And again, as stuff rolls closer, I think, where did I hear it? I don't even remember. If it was on Scott's deal, that our good friend to your south, Steve, gonna have the same like hotel YouTuber thing. I'd be interested to a degree. I'm gonna pull up shop at a fucking table, and it's gonna be probably in the corner. I don't need to sit in the middle, because I know some folks on here, not necessarily in the chat or watching live, or even possibly in the archive. I know I could name off several that would love to sit right in the middle and make sure that they're literally like a bobblehead that was broken, and their head swinging around every 10 seconds to see who's there, and like introduce themselves, hopefully get a new sub out of it. Tout how great the community is, and that's about it. If I'm there, if we're there, I'm sure we're going to be sitting in the corner, BSing with amongst each other, beers, and again, I'd love to meet people, but at the same time, not saying it's the collecting I don't like or don't care for, but if you have 40 guys talking about 48 leaf baseball, I'd rather sit on a cactus than have it go in my butthole. I mean, it's fine. At the same time, though, I don't want to sit and talk about fucking cards. If we're gonna be at some function like that, sure, if you got some cards with you for that day, that's great. I don't need to sit there and talk about the hobby. That's what the show is for. The hours of the show, roaming the floor. I mean, afterwards we can say, hey, we got this. Well, that's a fucking great find. That's fucking awesome you found that. But I mean, I don't want to sit there and we can, and that might be something I bring too. I might have like a notebook, so I'm starting to just write shit down that day. So it's fucking, I remember it. Because it's going to be a lot of shit going on where it's rapid fire. You got to try to remember. Like, man, remember the dealer that had X? How fucking stupid was that? Where you have whatever. The Mickey Mantle collection, it's like, whatever, the same type of situation. It's like, that's fucking insane. See that shit up in person. Or somebody that had like a fucking PMG green set.
Right.
Something like that where it's like, okay, I remember it, but I don't remember what
Where?
the green set fucking price wise, just there it is. That's something come back to down the road. Exactly. I don't want to sit there and fucking talk about like what do you find more appealing on 48 leaf Jackie Robinson? Is it the color? Is it the set? I don't fucking care.
Dave has no comment, Mark. Nicely done.
Yeah, I might do some slab box diving and be like, I bought these vintage slabs for $5 each and just use them as a coaster. Tag, you're at.
Hashtag facts.
So yeah, it'll be interesting because that's something I wouldn't mind doing, but at the same time, and we've said it before. There's people that okay, you watch their videos, you see what they're doing, you see what they're about, and maybe they to use some polite nomenclature, they don't turn your crank. It's just like, but you talk to him, it's a completely fucking different bear. Okay, I wasn't expecting this at all, but glad we got to sit down and chat. Some people fucking, I'd rather watch glue dry because they got the personality of a fucking wet fart. I'm like, no, I don't want to listen to you say anything. I don't want to hear you recite your fucking alphabet. I don't want to hear you talk names in the phone book. I don't want to hear you talk about cards. You're just boring as fuck. So that's that. You can sit there and talk, but I'm gonna get my earplugs. Or my not my Dre Beats, but I'll get Mark his fucking air traffic headphones and put them fuckers on, so I don't have to listen to half the shit. But that would be one thing I'd consider. That all trade nights and all that. No, I don't want to fucking be around idiots.
Yeah, trade nights don't don't do anything for me. I'm more concerned at the kind of like the YouTube hangouts, meet and greets. I don't care who's hosting it. It's one of those in which the opportunity to meet a lot of people. The show is founded on building relationships. You hope that you can, forge a handful of a few more in those instances. Take opportunities to get to know certain people a little bit more. You kind of build on those relationships. You kind of expand. I don't want to call expand your network, but that's ultimately what you're doing. You're expanding your network. But, since we are all about building the relationships, that's what I'm hoping to accomplish. Meet some other people, engage in conversation, not just in the show, not just because of YouTube, but expand it in phone conversation, text messages, whatever. I mean, granted, I love the crew that I'm already a part of. I enjoy the conversation. Michael and I used to talk all the time, not so much anymore. We both suck at that, but we both can admit that, right?
Indeed, I'm terrible. For
But-
no
but
reason other than most of the time,
You don't want to talk to anybody.
I just don't want to talk. I find it to be work, and that's a terrible thing to say, but
I get it though.
do.
I get it, and I understand it.
Yeah.
But you and I have had great conversations over the years.
Yeah,
And
several hour conversations.
And by great conversations, 3 and 4 hours.
Yeah.
And we bothered to look at the phone and see how long holy shit, it's been like 3 or 4 hours. And
yeah,
it's almost as if like no time has passed.
Yep.
It's like we just started. It's the same thing when I have conversations with Vinny or when I have conversations with Dave. It's not that we don't want to talk to people. Like you said, Michael, it's almost like a chore sometimes, and you want to make sure when you find an opportunity, you have that available time to have the conversation. You don't want to leave it half-assed. You want to be able to just engage in conversation. So I love the people that I'm really close with. I love the conversations, but it's nice to add to the list, so to speak, because of different interests, different life experiences, different jobs, whatever. So that's ultimately something that I'm hoping to accomplish, that I walk away with some additional deeper connections with some people to have those other conversations. Vinny, come back.
Vinny, come back. Sit down and
Sit down.
I gotta get the dog.
Okay, chop chop.
I'm moving.
Chop chop, because we still haven't gotten your summer stuff, even though I already have a feeling I know what it is, but still.
Yeah, because at some point too, not to spoil a future episode, but that'll be specifically things that we want to accomplish in Chicago. And that's going to be a broad spectrum of things. I will shot through with the compatriots on the screen right now, but it's going to be a multitude of issues or topics, because it just doesn't want, oh, what card do you want to fucking... I'm going to, fuck you. That's what card I want to pick up. Fuck you. The fuck you sketch card.
Is it a 101?
No, it's a 1 of 7. Because again, there's 7 deadly sins, and it's numbered to 666. So I don't know how that fits in the card nomenclature,
But you just said it was numbered to 7. How can it be numbered to 7?
Double numbered.
Yeah. So
Serial numbered and crash numbered. That's what you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And hand numbered to 1. It's a middle finger 101. But yeah, that'll be an episode. That's what I've thought of, but I want that to be a lot closer to the show than 2 months out. So that look for that in mid-July. And again,
hell, that could be the episode on Tuesday, the week of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, technically.
So again, if you all you fuckers that watch and steal our shit, there you go. I cannot wait to see that pop up. Giving you free advice, a free topic for your shows. But again, I will make sure if you do happen to do that between now and then, I'll call
We know where you got it.
I'll call you up by name on that show. And I'll use some of my not so fruity language.
No, Dave. I don't believe that for a second.
It will not be sugary sweet.
Are you ever?
Yes.
So, Vinny, summer plans.
School ends next Friday for C. Soccer tryouts are next week. They end Sunday. Basically, Operation Clean Up the House for Steve's arrival commences then, because my house needs some serious cleaning. I took some days off because the Stars, the pro team that I help with, they have a day game coming up here. I think it's on the 18th. It's like a Tuesday, which works out well because our show's on Wednesday. So I took a half day for that. Then in July, we're thinking about traveling with them down to Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we go with the boys and be the traveling fan club, even though we're directors of game day operations when we're here. So it's their biggest rivalry, and they hate us. And we just love them so much. So it'll be pretty awesome if we get to do that. Then I think we have a game that I think right before we leave, like it's the 18th of July that game is the half day I had to take. Then the next week's the National, so you'll be here. So I'm off from that Tuesday to the following Monday for the National. Then that Tuesday, there's a game, which is the 1st of August. There's a pro game that day, so I took a half day. So I come back Sunday, took the Monday off, get you home, chill out, and then that Monday that Tuesday work a half a day, and then go to the pro game. Then probably make a pilgrimage to Pennsylvania to see my folks in August, because we haven't seen them since November. And by that time, soccer's starting up again. So the week we come back is soccer. So we're going to be right back into the mix of things. Like I said, go see my folks probably for 3 or 4 days. Then it's pro team and cease through the fall and into the winter. And probably the only thing else we're going to do, I already took off days in November for Thanksgiving week to go see my folks. And that'll be it. And then I have to use all my vacation because we accrue right now. But I have to be at 0 at the end of the year. So if things work out, I might not be working much in December. I could pretty much take a half a day from Thanksgiving on and the last 2 weeks of the year off, because I have so much sitting there that I need to use. So it's going to be, I kind of want to get to November, but enjoy. See, that's the sound of a cone hitting the door. Hold on. Hi. That's about it. But I hope to go down to Chattanooga. That would be cool to. We went to. Where did we go? Where did I go? For,
Ohio, I thought.
no, that was for the tournament when Ghosty got sick. It was before that. We went for that one night trip, Steve. Where did we go? To see them play. We stayed one night and we came home the next day. I can't even think of what it was. Was it Missouri?
I didn't think it was that far south.
I can't remember where it was.
In-
Wherever it was that we enjoyed that. Indiana. We went to Indiana. Yeah. That's a lot of saved up PTO. A lot of saved up because I never take off. That's probably 9/10 of my problem. And then next year they're going to give it to us all at once. And I don't even know how we're going to accrue that. Are we going to be able to take stuff over to the next year, or do we have to use it up all again? So there's a lot of binding factors going on. So I don't know how. Plus, I've been there 20 years. So 20 years in October, 13 in Michigan and 7 in Pennsylvania. So no, September 29th, it'll be 20 years. So most of my whole adult life has been at one place doing a multitude of things. So I'm like, what's his name? Liam Neeson. I have a set of skills that make me a jagov that I am. But yeah. Plus, last year, better half got a new job, so she didn't have all the time. So now she has time. So we're going to try to do some stuff so we can actually enjoy things. And then, of course, me and C are going to the national. So, and she's going to have her quiet time by herself for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 days, roughly. So she'll enjoy that, I'm sure. Because I don't think we've ever, she's never been without one of us. So,
That's not true. When UNC took the train down to.
oh yeah, when we took the train to PA, I forgot about that.
Yep.
So yeah, so
Last
that's
year.
the last. Yeah, that's the last time she's had some no Vinny C time. So and C's looking forward to it. She asked me the other day how many days. It was like 59, 60 days, I said. And I think she's looking forward to seeing everybody more than the cards and stuff. I think she wants to go away and do something out of her norm. I think she's sick of school because
People
she's
suck.
been I think she's over it. And I've never seen a kid with more homework. I don't remember. I remember 5th grade having a lot of homework, but this stuff is just insane. And then they say in 6th grade, it like drops in half to 70% of it. It's like, because all the 6th graders go, I don't have homework. Well, my kid has like 3 or 4 subjects every night. It's like crazy. And it's like hours of work. Then you go to practice, and then you come home and do more work, and then you go to bed at 10 o'clock. Lucky for her, she doesn't have to be up till 7. So it's like, I think she's done with that, and I think she's had enough with soccer for the year. She's had a long, arduous year of being pelted.
Ups and downs.
Just absolutely pelted. And it's, the thing I think she grew in is her mental state. She now can handle the words and the pelting. So I think it made her stronger. It was rough. I will say that. She had a rough year. And she sat down. She told better half the other day, she's like, This is what I want for next year. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to give it one more year. And then she's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll switch clubs. Maybe I'll go back to softball. I don't know. And she loves the game so much. It's something that would break my heart if she wouldn't hurt the better half because she loves softball. But I think her love for soccer is 100% more. And if they sour the game for her, I'm going to be pissed because I know who did it.
Don't get me started, Benny.
And like the Jagoff this past weekend said something to her, and I wasn't there because Galaxy had to have surgery because something got his nose, and he had to have reconstructive surgery. We don't know if it was a tumor to burst, a critter outside got him. I don't know. And it's like I was there the whole time, and I wasn't there to hear it because Vinny would have you'd have been my cash for the national probably would have been bail money because I don't want to hear it. You have to get through 7 other people to get to her, and it's always 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 1-on-1, and it's what are you going to do? You got a huge net, and you got a 5-foot tall girl that's going to jump, dive, and do whatever she can to try. But it's, again, that's pretty high. So things overhead, she's got to jump and try to punch. It's not so easy because a lot of people this year tried it thinking that they could do it. It takes a special kind of whoo to do that, like that guy above me. And it's keep your my daughter's name out your mouth, as Will Smith would say. Say whatever you want about whatever. I don't care. That's why I sit away from everybody because I don't want to hear it. Because if I hear it, it's on like Donkey Kong. I don't want it.
Well, it's not necessary. That's not what being an athlete's parent is about. Talking
No.
shit about other people. You do
No.
that behind closed doors if you want to, if you choose to do so.
I don't even watch the game anymore. I stare at my kid. I sit my happy ass, excuse my language. I sit where she's on this side of the goal. When she switches at halftime and goes there, I march my little happy butt down to the other end, and that's where I watch. I don't pay attention. All I worry about, well, there they go, marching through 7 people to come out 3-on-1 against her, and my heart's going to because I'm like, oh God, please let her get it, please. It's the life. It's the life of a goalie dad, keeper dad, because if you make the saves, you're beautiful. You're not going to get any credit because that's your job. And if you don't make the save and you get a fingertip on it, 3-on-1, well, why didn't you get that? Why didn't your kids who are playing defense decide to stop the ball in the first place? No, because you were all pushed up there was nobody on the other half of the field. It's everybody, half my kid. That's not how defense in soccer works, people.
Nope.
And if I've watched enough pro games to watch those guys drop, they go up, but they're sure as you know what, coming back in time to defend.
Your fullbacks never should ever be past midfield. Ever.
Our Pro 4, if you could get past them to get to Tatenda, our goalie, good luck. Because Artem, Hogbin, Andreas, and Yakov are our 4 in the back. Good luck trying to get them. Because they're stopping you cold. That's what we do. We play lights out defense, and we play the long ball and the set plays to score. And guess what? NISA champions last year. It works. You play your game. Why we can't duplicate that anywhere else? I don't know. Okay, I talked enough.
It's because your coach doesn't fully understand the game. That's the problem. And like I said, don't get me started on all this because you're going to get me fired up, and I don't care to be fired up right now.
If you ever watch the show, if you ever watch the show Shorzy, and I know Paul and I are Shorzy connoisseurs,
Hell yes.
they don't want it. They float. They don't. They kick the kick. They don't pass. They don't hate to lose. I told Cece, it's great to love to win, but friggin' hate to lose. That's coming from Gen X's mouth to your Gen Z or whatever you are's ears. Hate to lose. It's okay if you don't win, but hate it, despise it, want to win. And if it's any other way, it's not healthy. Not that you want to win. If you lose, whatever. But you better get out there and do your thing.
Yep.
It's just, I guess that's my generation. I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. I don't know. But
No.
I always.
You're not an idiot.
She got a participation trophy medal for Science Olympiad. She came home, walked in the kitchen, plop, right in the thing. She's like, nope. She's like, I worked hard. I did my best. And it wasn't enough to place in the top 3. I do not want this. And and to me, that's, yeah.
There you have it. All right, Dave. Tie a bow on us.
Which is good because I can hear the thunder starting to roll a little bit, but I'm sure nothing damaging like you guys experienced down that part of the world will be trickling through here. Again, June 14th, 2 Wednesdays from tomorrow. You might want to tune in. Probably start on not on brand. We'll start actually probably on time. So put that little note in your back pocket and remember that it will be, as the kids say, lit. Folks might be doing dabs on their Fortnite dances. There'll be pups named Conehead. Pups named Conehead dabbing Fortnite.
For Ghost.
And it's not the Patreon launch either, Paul.
That was a couple years ago, and that really didn't take off. So, sort of like a SpaceX launch. So, thank you, Michael, jumping on. Thank you, everybody watching, commenting. We've said it before. We'll say it again. You got any comments, questions, queries, insights, whatever for us? Post a comment. We try to get back to them. I know I haven't looked. I think at the last probably couple of months worth, but
Not many. Actually, we haven't had many comments because I check on occasion. So I don't think we've had any comments on the past 6 shows, I think. So
people are enamored with our vernacular or eloquent way to spin tales of nomenclature with content that is not about drama. They just, it's like a good meal. You're full. You can't even be like, I want to add to it. No, I can't. So with that, Michael, Vinny, Steve, and Dave, this has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Remember, collecting cards, it's a wonderful hobby. The friendships that you forge, during your collecting of cards. That's what really matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.